Hey everybody, Rob Cootie here, the MLM Solution. How you doing? Today is Monday, July 12th. Hope everybody had a great weekend, a safe weekend. Here we are, the beginning of another great week, the middle of July. Who would have thought? Here we are in the 7th month. We're over the hump as far as the year goes. That is simply amazing. Anyway, the point is that we have a situation where we are going to be talking about something very important. If any of you have ever been a part of a pre-launch, you will understand today's subject, and you will also get the importance of the subject. So for those of you who have never been a part of a pre-launch, this is great for you. This is icing on the cake. This is a gold nugget, platinum nugget, whatever you want to call it. This is information that you are not going to hear from anyone else. Pre-launches can be some of the most profitable, exciting times that you ever encounter. At the same time, guess what? They can also be some of the most challenging and frustrating. We're going to talk about why and all of that in today's episodes. We take a deep dive into this wonderfully insightful topic. It is something I enjoy talking about because it's so unusual. So join us today as we take a deep dive into that so that you can learn how to navigate that process in a profitable and successful way. All right, so with that being said, as you can see, the topic number 214, pros and cons of a new company pre-launch. That's what we're going to be talking about today at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. As you know, each and every day, Monday through Friday, we go live. All you have to do is follow us on our YouTube channel and our Facebook page. We stream live there every day at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is coming up very shortly. So I need to get off of here so that we can get this show started on time. That being said, please utilize hashtag the MLM Solution, hashtag the MLM Solution, and share that hashtag with our fellow network marketers across the globe so they too can have access to this great information. And that way they can do amazing things with this wonderful business model for themselves and their family. If you go to our website, please take a second. That's all it takes to hit the share button. And once again, start that positive sharing process by simply sharing our website with all its great products and information as well. All right, with that being said, I'm going to hop off of here so we can get this show on the road.
Welcome to the MLM Solution Podcast Show, where you'll learn the facts and hear the truth about the network marketing industry. Here's your host, Rob Cootie and Marie Cannon.
Hello there, Miss Marie. How are you doing today?
Good morning. Happy Monday. How was your weekend?
It was very good. It really was. It was very relaxing. We did not do much this weekend, and that was okay with us.
That's the best kind right there.
Yeah. We kind of found ourselves wondering, what are we going to do? And guess what? We said we're going to do nothing this weekend, and we kind of did. We did go look at a couple of houses, and there'll be more during this coming week. We certainly have not given up on the house hunting, despite the craziness that you and I have discussed regarding real estate at the moment. But you got to be cautious, right, Miss Marie?
Yep, you do. You just never know.
You never know. You never know. I mean, you find bargains all the time, right?
Absolutely.
Yep. So what did you do?
I am a big fan of the do nothing option when it comes to, making choices. So a relaxing weekend was in order, hung out with some friends on Saturday night, had a great time, but other than that, not too much, just the usual life maintenance.
So you have friends?
I have a few, yes. They're very expensive, but, they're worth it.
Yeah, friends are expensive. I would agree with that. So that's all you did?
Yeah, pretty much. Didn't do anything exciting.
Well, what do you think about today's topic? Is that exciting, or is that as boring as your weekend sounds like it was?
I have a very high threshold for boring. So obviously, I think today's topic is far more exciting than my weekend was. So I think we should get after it.
Okay. All right. I was trying to have a little fun at Miss Marie's expense, but she's not participating. So I guess we're going to have to get the show started. That was her way of saying, all right, Rob, let's get at it. And I respect that. All right. So with that being said, guys, we have an interesting subject today. Let's put the subject up there. Pros and cons of a new company pre-launch. Miss Marie, first and foremost, have you been a part of a pre-launch?
I have. At least one that I can remember.
Okay.
It's been a long time, though, I have to say.
It has been a long time for both of us. There's no doubt. I have been a part of two that I know, maybe three. I'd be honest with you, I don't remember, but I know two for sure. And it can be the best of times, and it can be the worst of times. There's no doubt about it. We're going to jump into that subject in a deep way here very shortly, guys, so that you have a full understanding. You might be asking yourself, why do you need to know this information? Well, believe it or not, your success could be catapulted to even greater heights if you utilize the pre-launch correctly. Would you not agree, Ms. Marie?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, obviously, we advocate finding a new company that's got that huge growth trajectory going on. Well, think about it. If you can catch a company before it's even officially launched and get in on that true kind of ground floor opportunity, just imagine the growth potential there and the possibility of making an income that's beyond what most people are capable of doing in any other type of network marketing company scenario.
That's right. And we're going to talk about the tremendous impact that a pre-launch could have. The money that you make in a pre-launch, it is dramatic, and it's immense. So we're going to talk about that here in a moment. And as we always, please give us a thumbs up if you like what you hear and understand the points that we're making. You can see value in them and how they can help you get to where you want to be. In other words, from point A to point B as quickly and efficiently and effectively, and more importantly, as profitably as possible. If you feel that way, give us a thumbs up. We always love it. That's immediate feedback, and we love that feedback. And don't forget, if you're on some of our social media platforms, what you guys do, please like, share, comment. The algorithm, as you know, loves engagement, and we ask that you help us. The only way that we can get the word out to other fellow network marketers is with your help. The algorithms love your engagement, and that entices the algorithm to put us out in front of more people that have interest in this industry. So please help us help others by simply doing this, taking a few seconds and doing a very simple thing like comment, like, or share. Would you not agree, Ms. Marie? Wouldn't that be awesome if people would continue to do that?
Absolutely, and super easy. Clicking that like button doesn't even take a full second. If you want to leave us a comment, a question, even a suggestion for a topic you'd like to hear more about or something you feel we haven't touched on.
That's right.
We love that feedback as well.
That's right. Absolutely. So, all right, with that being said, now that we have that out of the way, we're going to take a deep dive into the subject matter today, and that is this: pros and cons of a company pre-launch, new company. I have to make that clear. New. Now, there is an unusual situation that can happen. I've been a part of it. Nu Skin started a new division, and at that time, it was from 1999 to 2000. It was called Big Planet. It was a technological division, and it was designed specifically to tap into the deregulation of utilities, the continued deregulation of communications. Also, it was designed to tap into the exponentially growing technological industry in all aspects. So it was very exciting, Miss Marie, because that was right up my alley. I love technology, right? Mm-hmm. The deregulation of utilities, that speaks for itself. That could be huge in itself. And the utilities are going to be single billing, where you have all your utilities on one bill instead of having an electric bill, a cell phone bill, and all that. So the single billing was a unique marketing angle. So I was very excited, as you could imagine. Well, we all know what happened to the technological bubble in 2001. It went, it took 10 years to recover. So what do you think happened to Big Planet, Ms. Marie?
It imploded.
Yeah, even bigger. It was a bigger flat. So, but you know where I made my money, Miss Marie?
Where?
In pre-launch.
Aha.
There was an 8 or 9 month pre-launch process, which took a lot of fortitude, as you can imagine. Because you know what? You didn't get paid during pre-launch. You know why? Because there was no volume allowed to be created. All you could do was sign people up. And then when the doors open, you had this immense flood of activity and volume just skyrocketing from 0 to whatever overnight, right? So you had to have the fortitude, the insight, the commitment, all of the other pronouns, verbs, adjectives, whatever else applies to stay with that pre-launch. And that was a daunting task when you're not getting paid and you're putting in all these hours, right? And
well, here's an interesting question for you. In that scenario, when you originally engaged, were they planning an 8 to 9 month pre-launch, or
no.
is that just what it got stretched out to?
It was originally a 3 month, but you're dealing with federal regulators. No, I need to say more. And you're dealing with technology. You know how fickle that can be. So need I say more? And at one time, Big Planet was the largest internet provider in the United States. Did you know that?
I was unaware.
Yep. So they came out guns blazing. I mean, think about it. It was Nu Skin. They had money upon money upon money upon money. You know, they've been making multi-billions every year, been, you know, debt-free for the most part. I think they had some debt, like 300 or 400 million, but I mean, that was minuscule. It might have even been less than that. But you're talking about a company that had deep pockets and billions in the bank. So, I mean, this new division was nothing to them, but they were excited about it because they saw the potential, and so did we. And they were well-organized machine. They hired the right people, et cetera, et cetera. And so it was easy to be motivated and focused, even during that 8 or 9 month process. I think we started in July, and they didn't open the doors until the following February or March, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
So it took a lot of fortitude. You know what the hardest thing was, Miss Marie, is getting other people to see the vision, because it was an 8 or 9 month process. They couldn't grasp. Number one, network marketing was foreign to them. Number two, they could not grasp how there was no product, how you could not get paid. You were doing this work, and it just didn't make sense to them. You know, almost had to be in front of them to do a presentation. And back then, as you know, Miss Marie, I had been around since the 80s, and you learned the old napkin presentation. You remember those?
Yeah.
Well, they were effective if you did them right, as long as you didn't drag it out, right?
Right.
Even back then, people wanted you to get to the point, you know? So I signed people up left and right because I was really good at doing the presentation. Sorry, I have fleas.
You have fleas?
I have fleas. No, I'm kidding.
For those of you on the podcast who can't see the video, Rob's waving his arms around. I'm assuming he means flies, but
I just thought fleas would be more interesting.
Rob's gone to the dogs.
Yeah, gone to the dogs, sleeping with the dogs. The wife has put me in the doghouse. So she said, "You sleep in the doghouse until I get a house." I told you we got a new car, right? Got her a new.
You did, yep.
Yes. Okay. All right. So anyway, the house is next. This is what I'm getting at. All right. So anyway, the point is that when I got my first check, it was a big check, as you can imagine. I was very proud of it. I had a big smile on my face, as you can imagine, right? And that's one of the stories. Remember, I was telling you about the guy that made $25,000 in 1 month. Remember that? Mm-hmm. That's where that came from, that story.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but you know, the one thing you don't talk about is how much work he put in prior to that, right?
Right.
Yeah. So the thing is that it was tough. The pros far outweighed the cons, but the cons were big. They were few, but they were big. Why? Because you're not getting paid. You have to do it on faith, right? If it wasn't Nu Skin, you probably wouldn't have faith in that new company because the company has no history. Okay, so the only thing that made this one work is because people get to look at Nu Skin and see the history, the power, the reach, the financial capabilities of Nu Skin, realizing that this company had done something very special and knew how to make these new divisions work. And so there was something that was okay with them. People I'm talking about, they say, okay, I could see where this company, they have the power, they have the vision, they can hire the people. If it was truly a new company, Miss Marie, that would have been another big con and that I would have had to overcome. Obviously, does this company have the funding? Do they have the leadership? I mean, even common sense people, if you're talking to people 5 and above on the ambition scale and they're leaders of industry, guess what? They know the right questions asked, right, Miss Marie? Because they know that leadership and funding is essential to being, it's an essential part of the success formula, right?
Absolutely.
If you and I were to start a new company today, we have to have proper funding, right? And we have to have a business plan, and we have to be able to hire the right people. All of that has to come together in order for that even have a chance at being successful. So the fact that Nu Skin was a part of that was a biggie. Now, I've been a part of a company that had no history and did the pre-launch, and well, that was even tougher, as you can imagine. Trying to sell people on the leadership and the funding and all of that, and having them show documents. And as you could tell, it was very labor intensive back then, Miss Marie, because guess what? Number one, I wasn't a seasoned veteran back then. I mean, I had some under my belt, but nothing like I do now. On top of that, we didn't have the tools. We still had nothing more than a fax machine and a phone, remember? Yep. Cell phones were just starting to come around, and very few people had those. So we were still in the primitive ages back then, and which meant you had to do what, Miss Marie? You had to drive around and sit in front of people, right?
For the most part, yep.
Yeah, and do that napkin presentation. And for all of you that don't know what that means, that term came about because people literally would grab a napkin and start doing a presentation on them. You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then it became kind of an industry, I won't say standard, but it certainly became part of the mystique of the industry. It's probably, I guess, a good way of putting it. Would you agree, or you got a different take on that?
Well, I think it was one of those where, that napkin presentation, at least in my experience, was one of those things where more often than not, you'd use in a situation where you weren't necessarily expecting to do a presentation.
That's right.
I mean, back in the day, we had the little flip chart things, where you had at least the colored printed sheets in the plastic and your binder, and you could go through the whole presentation with people so they'd have a visual to help them, because a lot of people are visual people. They need something to see in order to kind of connect the dots.
That's right.
Which was the whole point of the napkin presentation too, right? As you're talking to people, you want to give them something visual to kind of latch onto, as well as hearing what you're saying.
Right. Exactly. So what exactly is the pros of the pre-launch? Let's take a look at a few of the really big ones. One, you can make a ton of money. I kid you not. Even though you're not getting paid, guys, if you have the faith, if you'll stick with it, what else you got to do? Even with a new company, I mean, the only thing you got to lose is your time, but the payoff could be absolutely huge. And you say, okay, well, it's just money. Are you going to make money during the actual official launch of the company? Yeah, absolutely. But you're starting from ground zero. Who would not like to have inside information saying, Rob, Marie, we got the next Amway coming up. We have a company here that's guaranteed to make $8 to $10 billion a year. Guess what? We're going to let you guys in on a secret. There's going to be a pre-launch, and here's all the information you need to look at and why this is going to be an $8 billion a year company. Now, Miss Marie and I know that is a wishful thinking to say it's going to be an $8 to $10 billion a year company. But what if it was true? What if it turned out to be true? Well, Miss Marie and I, through our experience and knowledge and common sense, would say, you know what, this is worth my effort. Mm-hmm. You know what, it's got the funding. I know these leaders personally. They've got a great product. Everything's in place here. It's got the 5 things a new company must have. And so Miss Marie and I look, and the person that's telling us that it's got a chance of being $8 to $10 billion a year company, we know well and trust, and they never fooled us before. And so Miss Marie and I talk, and we say, you know what? There's a lot of good things going on here. What does it hurt? We've done worse in the past, right, Miss Marie? So what is it going to hurt? What if it turns out to be true? What if it's only half of what they say, $4 billion a year? Well, guess what? Miss Marie and I would be in a wonderful position for probably one time in our life, possibly, to be legacies. In other words, we could be one of the legacy people of this new company. Okay, so Miss Marie and I would say, hell yeah, we're going to do it, because this is worth finding out if this company is truly going to turn out to be what you say it is. Okay, so Miss Marie and I would look at it in that fashion. Why? Because during the pre-launch, which her and I could care less about, we understand we're doing a premature 90-day mini blast, probably a more intense 90-day mini blast than we would typically do. Why? Because the pre-launch could change any day. Nobody in the company is going to say our pre-launch is going to be 90 days on the nose. They're going to say, no, our pre-launch is scheduled for 90 days. Well, we're going to bust our ass, see if we can get it done by 45 days, right, Miss Marie? So you and I could wake up one day and be behind the curve or behind the 8 ball, because they did it in 45 instead of 90. And you and I were planning, we set all plans for 90 days. But you and I, through our knowledge and experience in this industry, would say, well, he might say 90 days, but I'm not waiting, because I know better. I know better. I know what they're doing. They're giving themselves a little cushion because they don't want people to be harsh on them if they don't make it. If they say 90 days, they're going to push to get that thing done as soon as possible. I got to get my butt in gear, right, Miss Marie? So our 90-day mini blast is going to be really intense. But guess what? You and I would have a story. Okay, we have the knowledge, we have the experience, we can lean on that. We have a great story from our own past, but at the same time, we can say, hey, I've never been more excited. You got to get on board now, because this could be 45 instead of 90. They said 90, but this is how this works, right, Miss Marie? And we could tell people, and it's not like, I talked about, we did those episodes, get in now, why it's good to get in. Get in now and takes position number 7. It'll never be available. You and I, we don't play that game. We're like, get in now, because it could be 45 days instead of 90, and you can make a ton of money in a pre-launch. And I'll talk about that in a moment. So would you not agree with that whole scenario?
I do, yes. Uh-huh.
And that's all you got to say.
And yeah, I don't really have anything to add to it.
I know, I was kidding you.
You've explained it
well. I didn't expect you to say anything else. Okay, so let me give you a real life example of what I'm talking about. Let's bounce back to Nu Skin once again. And I told the story before, so I'll kind of paraphrase it and make it quick, because we don't want to drag this episode out. Look, here it is. Nu Skin was going in with, I think their skincare or something, I can't remember. Anyway, into an Asian country or Asian countries. I can't remember which. Anyway, an Asian gentleman, and I do have this story somewhere, and I'll have to look it up again. But anyway, this Asian gentleman and his wife had obviously contacts in Asia, in that part of the world. And so the Nu Skin said, hey, we're going to go in there in the next 3 months. So the guy and his wife, they get to work. And they're an older couple. They're in their middle 40s, maybe early 50s. So they get to work, man. They have contacts, and Asian people love network marketing. So things were rocking. And so the 3 months come up, and the people over in the Asian countries that he was sponsoring, all he could do was sign people up. There was no volume created. They had to get a number, right, Miss Marie? And that's what pre-launch is about. That's one of the cons. All you can do is sell a starter kit, right, Miss Marie, for $25. I don't even know if there's volume attached to a starter kit. Some companies do, some don't. But the thing is, that's all you can do, guys. You just get an ID number. You can't even order product, right, Miss Marie?
Right.
It's there, but it's in a warehouse, and you cannot order it. It's illegal. In other words, it's against FDA or FCC. I can't remember which one. Laws, I guess you would call it, or regulations. You cannot sell product to people when you don't have the company doors open, right, Miss Marie? They don't believe in pre-launch. The government doesn't care about a pre-launch. It's like, no. So anyway, these people were not getting any product. All they could do was sign up. And so when the 3 months came up, Nu Skin said, oh, man, we're sorry, guys. It's going to be another 3 months. And, it's regulatory. And as we talked about, Miss Marie, having the right lawyers, right, getting through customs, getting everything passed, because certain countries don't like certain ingredients in certain products, okay? And they're not going to allow you to sell that product in that country with that ingredient. And Miss Marie, I don't know. I think you've been through that or heard it or seen it or something where products have been held up in customs. Have you ever seen that?
I don't know that they've been held up in customs, but I know some companies have had trouble getting into certain countries because of the product ingredients or even just the structure of the network marketing compensation plan.
Yes,
has
absolutely.
had to be adjusted as well.
That's right. For overseas. In the United States, it was one thing, and that's right. Very good point. I had forgotten all about that. The one thing was Israel. We had problems with products got caught in customs because they had a certain ingredient that was not allowed in the country of Israel. Did you know that?
I did not.
Yes. So anyway, Canada's like that too. We're really tough. Anyway, so this individual and his wife did not like the news, an extension of another 3 months, and his people over in Asia didn't like it. They were all ramped up. They were ready. I mean, they're literally like the horses at the Derby. They were in the gate ready to go. And so when they got this news, they were not happy. And it was a masterful job. The reason I know this story is because he told this story, and he did a masterful job of holding all these people together. Sure, he lost some people because they lost faith, and they thought he was pulling their leg. Some people thought he was making money. He said, no, that money goes to the company. Some of the people didn't get it, Miss Marie. They thought that when he sold that starter kit or get an ID number, that he was making that $25, and that's all they were ever going to get. And he's like, no. And so he sent them the company website. They could see that kit was, in fact, coming from the company and was required for all distributors, no matter where you were. So anyway, he just had to work his tail end off just to keep this organization together. And I mean, it was getting huge. Well, guess what? There was another delay. Finally, almost a year later, they opened the doors to that part of the world, that Asian part of the world. And when I left Nu Skin at that time, Miss Marie, he owned 92% of the volume coming out of those countries.
Wow.
92%. Is that not crazy?
That's a nice check, I'm thinking.
Can you imagine? So, guys, that is a prime example, and that happens more than you realize. That's not a once-in-a-lifetime shot. If you're in a pre-launch, that story happens to multiple people that take action because the company is going to open its doors, okay? Whether it's just the United States or whether it's another country, guess what? They are going to open their doors, and what do you think is going to happen? Overnight explosion, because people understand they're working as hard as you are because they understand the importance of getting in early and on a pre-launch and creating all of this big organization. What they did, Miss Marie, they're just there, what? To do the numbers. And what's the numbers, Miss Marie? To build an organization as big and fast as you possibly can. You're not even worried about leaders at this point, Miss Marie. If you can sponsor 150 people, that's your goal, right? You go out and you sponsor. At that time, you don't care about the numbers. You say, Rob, why do you say that? You're always talking about the numbers. Because guess what? If you sponsor 150 people, if you say, I'm going to put my head down, and from between now and the time that they open those doors, I'm going to sponsor as many people as I can, which is easy. You say, why? Because it's usually only $25 to get a number, ID number. Okay. And it's easy to tell people get in their pre-launch. This is different than a company starting new from day one and people telling you about a position. This is not necessarily about a position. This is getting in front of the volume, right, Miss Marie? Mm-hmm. You are building an organization of users. And what you want to do, if Miss Marie, she says, I'm going to put together an organization of 5,000 people. What do you think is going to happen when the company opens the door? She's going to have 5,000 buyers in her downline, right, Miss Marie? And your volume is going to go from zero to off the charts almost overnight. Your first week volume will just blow you away, right? Is that not correct?
Yep.
Okay.
That's the way the numbers play out. And even if you think about it, I mean, if you're in pre-launch and you're finding 150 people to bring into your organization before pre-launch, and then it launches, and then the numbers do play out that 1/3, you've got a solid 50 people that are going to go to work, right?
Yes. Real close, give or take, but it's in that ballpark. And guys, here's the thing. It didn't matter. There's a pre-launch when company, let's say you join a company after it's been in business for 2 weeks. So let's just say you didn't even have a pre-launch. The company opens its door. You find out about it 2 weeks later. You join it. You see it's got the 5 things. You're excited about it. And then you say, hey, we're going into Japan on let's say December 1st, 2021. Ding, 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 a bell should go off. And they say, you can't sell anything there, but you can start building a team. Well, that's a pre-launch, Miss Marie. Mm-hmm. That is a pre-launch, guys. That's a pre-launch within a launch. In other words, the company's launched its own, opened its own doors. It's launched its own career just 2 weeks ago. And they've already announced that by 2021, December 1st, 2021, their goal is to be in Japan. Okay. That tells me and Marie, we're going to get our ass in gear. And yeah, we're going to sponsor people in the US, but guess where our focus is going to be? It's a race to Japan. Okay. Why? Because Miss Marie and I know that the people of Japan love network marketing. It's much easier to build a team over there than it is here. Okay. So her and I, we're going to be using technology. We're going to be talking to people in Japan left and right. We're going to go on the internet and go to message boards. We're going to put up videos on our YouTube, everything targeting what? Japan, right, Miss Marie? Mm-hmm. Targeting people. And we're going to look for people in the US or Canada that know people in what? Japan, right? Because we understand that Japan's going to outwork and outperform the United States. You know, if Miss Marie says, I'm going to focus on Japan, and Rob says, well, I'm going to focus on the good old USA. And Miss Marie's going to be thinking to herself, well, that's a foolish thing. You know, the United States is not pro network marketing for the most part. And Japan is, guess what? The numbers are going to play in my favor, right, Miss Marie? So Miss Marie, being a woman and being common sense, she's going to say, I think I'm going to go to Japan. And Rob's like, no, by golly, I'm a man. I'm going to make it work. And guess what? Rob's going to lose. Okay.
Well, Rob's not necessarily going to lose. He's just not going to win as big.
There you go. Okay. Well, thank you for the kind words. I'd say that's losing. You call it maybe not as good. Here's the thing. I missed an opportunity. Japan will only open once. Okay. United States is going to be here. And guess what? It'll take me 2 to 3 years. This is no joke to do what she could do in 6 months in Japan. Would you not agree, Miss Marie? No.
Sounds about right. Yep.
Yeah. And it'd probably be even worse than that for me. Okay. And could I do it in the US? Yes. With the 5 simple steps and the music to the ears message, the threshold of profitability. Yes. Eventually I'll find the people when I work the numbers. That is what we talk about all the time. But guess what? She is working a dynamic the United States can't match. And that is the enthusiasm, right, Miss Marie? The excitement, the open-mindedness about the people from the people in Japan about network marketing. They embrace it. Where here in the United States, people go, you know. And guess what? You cannot replace enthusiasm, Miss Marie, and excitement. And those people have it. And they get it. They understand network marketing. They understand the game. They understand what's going on. So Miss Marie has got a lot more going for her than I do for me here in the U.S. And considering that she's doing a pre-launch, well, by December 1st, 2021, if the company does in fact open the doors in Japan, by the end of December, early January, she probably will be outperforming me. Okay. And that is if I was to start even in January 2021 and work my tail end off till December, her short little stint in Japan could definitely outperform me. She could put together an organization quickly far greater than I ever could in the United States. I mean, outnumber me probably 2, 3 to 1. If I had an organization of 500 people, she could have 1,500 people in her pre-launch, and that's no joke when it comes to the Asian countries, right, Miss Marie? Mm-hmm. So, and if a company says, "Well, hey, we're going to open by December 1st, 2021, not only Japan, but we're going to open Singapore too," okay, she'd be dancing in the streets. I mean, she's like, okay, I'm going to cash my $1 million check now. Because guess what? I have hit the jackpot. I've hit the lottery, right, Miss Marie? You couldn't ask for a better situation. It's really unbelievable.
Yeah, because then, I mean, especially when you're talking the Asian countries, if they're going into kind of that ripple effect and doing multiple Asian countries, you have the ability to build your organization because you're recruiting somebody in Japan. They're going to know other people in Japan. They're going to know people in Singapore. They're going to be able to leverage their network to get that message out.
That's right. And here's the thing, guys. You have to realize that, Miss Marie and I, because of our experience, know that. We know the power of a pre-launch. We understand what it can do. It can catapult you to heights that other people will have a hard time matching. I'm not going to say they can't, but really have a hard time, because a pre-launch is literally a launching pad. It allows you to quickly put together an organization of hundreds and sometimes thousands of people simply by signing up to get an ID number. Okay. But you also there's another side of the story, and I guess we can do an episode on that later because we're already 35 in. But you have to have a right message, Miss Marie. Just because people are signing up, you have to be able to convey to them, okay, guys, you got an ID number. That's not the end of the game. Here's what's going to happen. On December 2nd, everybody's going to place an order for a minimum of 100 PV. Okay, and we'll get into that another day, right? But here's the thing. If Rob and Marie know this, and the company's led by savvy network marketers, seasoned network marketers, what do you think they know? They know the United States and Canada are going to be a year or two behind what? The growth in the Asian countries. So what does a new network marketing company do? As quickly as possible, they expand into what? Asian countries. That's some of their first expansion. Why? Because they need the money. Okay, they say the U.S. is going to be there, Canada is going to be there, Mexico is going to be there. They're slower. They're about a year behind. We're not going to give up on those countries. But at the same time, we understand the gold mine of network marketing in the Asian countries. We need the money, right, Miss Marie? So they're going to go into the Asian countries as quickly as possible. Well, what is that for me and Marie? It's a gold mine. It's like hitting the freaking lottery. It's like going cha-ching, Marie and I. And that's one of the things, I guess, Miss Marie, that we ought to put in our checklist for the 5 things a company must have. But, I mean, we do kind of, the bottom line is I think we might want to do an episode on that, is that one of the things when you join a new company, Miss Marie, you should check on the expansion plans of that company. When are they going to go into the Asian countries? Because if they're focused solely in the United States and Canada, guess what, Miss Marie? Their growth is going to be slow to moderate. It's not going to be that over the top. They may, and that's a big may, get off to a really nice start, a strong start, but it wouldn't be a spectacular start, not like it would be in the Asian countries, right?
Yeah. The enthusiasm and just the growth potential in the Asian countries has almost always proven to be so much more dynamic than in the U.S.
Absolutely. Without exception, almost every year, almost every company, it's over the top crazy. And it's not to say that the United States, Canada, Mexico are dead. That's not what we're saying. Just slower. Slower, guys. It's just the way it is, and it hasn't changed. I doubt it's going to change in the future. I wish it would. I wish people would embrace it, but that's the reason why Miss Marie and I are doing what we're doing, is to break down all these barriers and misconceptions of the industry, so people understand how it really works, and people can get excited about it in the United States. And if you use it, use the message or music to the ears message properly, you can break down a lot of those barriers. Because why do people always want to improve their situation, and they improve their situation through what? Money. And money helps them to have a better lifestyle. That is the opportunity of network marketing, right, Miss Marie? Mm-hmm. That company's only going to grow once, right? Once it opens its door, Miss Marie, it's all uphill from there, or it's straight down the toilet, So it's one or the other. So, okay, so what are some of the cons, real quick, so we can close this out? Some of the cons is that you're going to have to put in a lot of hours. Okay, you're going to have to, because a pre-launch is not easy. A pre-launch is probably one of the most difficult things that you're going to do. And all bets are off. The great thing is, one of the pros of the pre-launch is that you only have to get them to get a starter kit, because there's no product that can be moved. And do not try to circumvent that, because if the company catches you, they will penalize you. They could say, hey, we're going to freeze your ID number. You're not going to be able to perform any activity for the next 6 months. Well, you might as well quit and go away, because during that 6 months, you've missed all of that. Okay. If they catch you trying to move product into a country that's not officially open yet, it puts the company in a legal bind. Okay. And they are not going to allow the distributor to put their future in jeopardy because they're being overzealous. Right, Miss Marie? Mm-hmm. They are going to monitor that. And if they find you doing it, they could literally just take your ID and kick you out. And they could literally sue you. They could bring legal action against you because the bylaws, their bylaws, almost every new company has lawyers draw up their bylaws, and without exception, that's one of the things that's in the bylaws, because they do not want when they go into new countries for that country to get pissed off because the country found product coming in prior to pre-launch, right, or the official launch. They will put it in warehouse and they will hold it in customs until it is released by the government of that country's timetable. So with that being said, guys, pre-launch, the cons is that you're going to put in a lot of hours, and it's going to be nothing more than just getting an ID number, which means getting a starter kit, which is fabulous, which means the pro on the other side of that is this: you can sign up people as fast as you can, and you want to sign up as many people as you can. As Miss Marie said earlier, if you sign up 150 people, and that sounds like a lot, but it's not. It's not. When you're only moving a starter kit and you have the right story, and that's the key. You got to have the right story that's short and concise, and say, look, here's what's going on. Get in and get an ID and start building a team. Start doing it now. And so then you're doing what? You're signing up 150 people. What do you tell your people? Sign up as many as you can. Don't put a limitation. If you got somebody that can sign up 200 people in 1 month, because in Asia they bring them all together in the theater, and everybody in the theater says, raise their hand, I want to sign up. Okay, well, you don't want to tell them, well, no, just sign up 150 people. They can sign up 220 people. Let them sign them up. Right, Miss Marie? Mm-hmm. Because they do that over there, guys. So you don't want to put a limitation. Just say to yourself, I personally, and if you're talking to your people and you're sponsoring, you just say, look, sign up as many people as fast as you can between now and the launch date. Okay. And so then as you get close to launch date, you're going to introduce what? The threshold of profitability. You're going to get all your leaders together and you're going to say, hey, look, on the launch date, all of you want to do 100 PV per month. Why? And you show them. And they'll be like, oh my gosh, that volume will be created. Oh my gosh. And 100 PV. And they got to realize, so some of those people in Asian countries, 100 PV is a lot of money. So you got to give them some heads up so that they can save up and get ready for that. Right, Miss Marie? But they're going to see what? They're going to see the other side. What is the other side? Oh, Miss Marie, you tell me that if I have X amount of people, yes, look at the 10,000 group volume. That's when they'll be like, oh my gosh. And they'll do it. Right, Miss Marie? Because they're going to show other people. You want to do 100 PV? Here's why. Look at Complan. This is what you get paid. Build a big team. And they will. That's exactly what they'll do. And because they get numbers. They're very number centered, I guess is the best way to put it. The Asian countries are big on numbers. And so they're going to know what you're saying when you tell them that. And they're going to see that getting a starter kit is the only way to do it in the beginning. They're going to understand it. Once you keep telling the truth, the trust level goes way up, and they're going to follow your direction. And so one thing the Asians will do, they will follow directions very well if they trust you. So just be honest with them and keep them abreast of what's going on. And yes, you're going to put in a lot of hours. That's the con side, more so than you would in the 5 simple steps, because this is a condensed timetable. And then you said, well, 6 months is not condensed. No, it's not. But when you're signing up that many people and working with that big an organization, I'm telling you, you will find out that 6 months is actually 2.5 months, because you're going to squeeze in a lot of work, and it's going to feel like it's only 2.5 months away instead of 6 months, because that time just flies like that. Because guess what, Miss Marie? They're 8 hours ahead? And so you're going to be up all hours. You're going to be getting up at 3 a.m. so you can talk to your leaders before they go to work, right?
Yep.
So, Miss Marie, you got anything to add? You've been awful quiet.
Well, that's because you've been doing such a great job explaining everything. I'm just letting you run. I figure I'd clarify something if it needed to be, but I think you've covered it really well.
Well, the other con is that sometimes guys, they don't end up going in those countries because of government issues. And that is one of the biggest cons. You can do all that work, but it's a risk. But you know what? It's a risk worth taking, because if in fact it does end up happening, and more times than not, it does. Very rarely does it not. And you say, well, how is it that it could not go through after 6 months? Look, if they can't get a proper ingredient that the government will approve, then they're not going to allow that product in there. And unless the company has another product that they can replace it with, or one that they can just kind of substitute it with, they're dead in the water. If they have pissed off the wrong government people, those people won't release it. They don't play by the U.S. rules. And believe me, they don't always play fair. And if they get pissed off or something, they'll just come up with all kinds of excuses to hold your product in the warehouse for months.
Yeah, and I will say that's definitely a risk, but keep in mind, a company is not going to go through the time, money, and effort to attempt to go into a country if it doesn't honestly think it's going to get in there and be able to do business.
Absolutely.
So.
Right, but there's a yin and a yang, and I wanted to bring up the yang because more times than not, everything works out just fine. But I have seen instances where things have definitely, I've seen companies pull out of countries because of government situations. So, but it's very rare, but you need to know that it is possible. Yep. And, but Ms. Marie, if it does happen, it doesn't mean that it happens in every Asian country. They may not get into one, but that doesn't mean they're not going to get into 3 or 4 others, right?
Correct.
So you can't just go in the corner and suck your thumb. You just say, well, that really sucks. But there again, that's the reason why you want to know what countries the company's going into. And if you're going into multiple Asian countries, what are you going to do, guys? You're going to sponsor people what? In multiple Asian countries. So if one of the 3 doesn't pan out, you've got 2 that you can still ride the wave on, right, Ms. Marie?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yep. So that's one of the cons that you want to look at. The biggest pro, ton of money. You will probably make more money during a pre-launch than you probably ever make in your 5 simple steps business building process. And I'm not saying you won't make money during the business 5 simple steps, because you got to remember, you still got the United States, Canada, and Mexico. But it's going to take 1 to 2 years for that to come around, and it may not match what you have made in the short 6-month span of the Asian invasion, if you will. Would you not agree?
Yeah, absolutely. The potential for rapid growth is so much higher going into those countries.
Yep. So to be honest with you, Ms. Marie, as we close, that's a dream scenario for me. To join a new company that went into the Asian countries as quickly as possible, allowing me to do a pre-launch in those countries, build up a huge organization, and then when that explodes, I can kind of sit back with my cigar and whiskey and start building the United States with the 5 simple steps. And that would be my second wave. And I would have an income machine that would be rarely matched by many people, regardless of industry.
Yep.
So there you go. All right, Ms. Marie, I think we're done. This took a lot longer than I anticipated. Sorry, guys, but as you could tell, I talked fast, but it was a lot of information, and you needed to know the pros and cons of a new company pre-launch. There's a lot more pros than there are cons, but the cons can be big, even though they're few and far between. They can be biggies. All right, Ms. Marie, tomorrow, the pros and cons of a new product launch. You're going to say, well, that's just going to be the same story as tomorrow as it is today. Well, not necessarily. As you're going to find out, there are differences, and there's profound differences. And once again, you got to have a product that works, right, Ms. Marie?
Preferably, yes.
Yes. You got to have a product that people want, right, Ms. Marie?
Absolutely.
You have to have a product, guys, that has the proper point value, something people rarely talk about. There's some unscrupulous companies that will have a $30 product and give you 5 points. Let me say right now, run in the opposite direction, not towards it, away from it. So we'll talk about that and much more tomorrow. You do not want to miss that episode, because there's a lot of great information in the pros and cons of a new product. A new product pre-launch. Blah, blah, blah. Got tongue-tied there. All right. Miss Marie, you have anything else to add while we get off of here?
I do not. I'm looking forward to tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Eastern.
Okay. And as always, I know I had to throw this up here real quick. This is not our typical great quality image, but Monday is 4 critical mistakes most networkers make day. This is the day we want to let you guys know about these 4 critical mistakes that most networkers make. Guys, you do not want to be making these mistakes, and chances are very good and actually great that you're making 1 or all 4 of these mistakes. Miss Marie and I can confidently look somebody in the eye and say, chances are you're making one of these 4 mistakes. You say, well, okay, if I am making one of those mistakes, why is that important? Because, guys, you are undermining the very success you're trying to build. These things are eating away at the success, and it's bad duplication. We talked about you got good duplication and bad duplication, and I'm telling you, you're making these mistakes, you're ensuring that bad duplication is taking place, which means you're going to have no duplication at all. And this business, as you know, is built on duplication. You do not want that to happen to you. If you don't know what the 4 critical mistakes are, if you don't know whether you're making them or not, you need this document. How do you get this document? Just go to the website and you'll see it right there. It is on sale. I know that for a fact because I worked on it last night. All you have to do is go and get that information right now while it's on sale. Read it, watch the videos, listen to the audios. In less than 2 hours, you'll have all this critical information. And guess what? It will have a profound effect. Would you not agree, Ms. Marie? That's probably one of the most important documents.
I was going to say that's one of my favorite products because that's one of those things you may not even know you're making mistakes, but once you get them corrected, you can really see your business take off.
That's right. And then you go, oh my gosh, I didn't realize I was making those mistakes. All right, Ms. Marie, with that being said, now that we got the ad, if you want to use that term, out of the way, it's time for us to get out of the way and get off of here. My gosh, this is one of the longest episodes we've done in a long time. Shame on Rob. Shame. All right,
Thanks
guys.
for listening to today's podcast. Download our podcast on SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, and other podcast platforms. Visit our website at www.themlmsolution.net for additional important information, show details, and past shows. Follow us on Parler, Rumble, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Please hit the like button, the subscribe button, or the get notified button while visiting our other social media platforms.